If you're involved in a work-related injury in Delaware, very important for you to contact an experienced workers' compensation lawyer to guide you through the process. Things are time sensitive in the state of Delaware, and they need to be explained to you so your rights are properly protected. I often tell clients when they come into my office that work injury is a little bit different than a car accident case. In a car accident case, you're entitled to a number of things, including pain and suffering. In a work-related injury, you're not entitled to necessarily pain and suffering, but what you're entitled to is what's essentially on the workers' compensation menu. And that menu is generated by the state statutes here in the state of Delaware, and they essentially provide you a few fundamental benefits. The first being your medical benefits. If you're involved in a work-related injury in Delaware, your employer is required to pay for your medical benefits and your medical treatment. Unlike other states, in Delaware, you're entitled to see any doctor of your choosing. That's not the same in other states, but here in Delaware, thankfully, we're able to see any doctor that you're able and willing to see. One of the things you have to keep in mind here in Delaware is that particular doctor has to be approved to be a workers' compensation certified doctor. If you see an unapproved doctor here in Delaware, even though you might be entitled to benefits and involved in a work-related injury, the insurance company may not have to pay for their services. So it's very important that you take that into consideration. You're entitled to essentially your medical benefits being paid, your total disability benefits being paid. That means if you're out of work on total disability. Additionally, if you're out of work on a reduced basis. So if your doctor sends you back to work in a sedentary position or in a light-duty position, then you're entitled to the difference between what you made before and what you're currently making now. And it's 2/3 of the difference. So it's not 100% of what you were making before. It's 2/3 of the difference between what you made before and what you're making now, up to the state maximum limit. A few other things that you're entitled to. In the event that you have sustained a permanent injury, and that can come in a number of ways. Let's assume that you have some scarring from either a surgical incision or you have scarring from some other form of injury where a pipe falls on you or you're cut or you're seriously disfigured. You're entitled to some lump sums for the extent of your permanent scarring. But also if you have a permanent injury to your body. So let's assume that you've had some surgery or you've lost a limb. There are certain percentages that you're entitled to recover for permanency here in the state of Delaware. And the way that works is you're assessed as far as the loss of strength, the loss of motion for that particular body part. That gets inserted into a formula that the state legislature has set forth, and out pops a lump sum that you're entitled to. And that's all governed, again, by the menu from the state of Delaware that sets forth the permanency benefits that you're entitled to. You're also entitled to mileage. So each time you go to the doctor, for whether or not you go for therapy, whether or not you go for medical treatment, or you go to the pharmacy to pick up a prescription related to that work-related injury, you're entitled to 40 cents per mile for each mile that you travel on a work-related injury. There's a statute of limitations associated with all workers' compensations here in the state of Delaware. The initial statute of limitations is 2 years. So if you're injured on the job and you don't perfect your claim, and there's a certain way that you have to perfect your claim, there are certain forms that you need to fill out. They need to be filed with the state of Delaware, the Department of Labor. If those forms aren't filed on time, then you may be precluded forever from pursuing a workers' compensation claim here in Delaware. But assuming those benefits have been perfected and you filed the proper forms, then there's a rolling statute of limitations associated with workers' compensation claims, and that being 5 years. So assuming that your claim has been picked up, the proper forms have been filed, and you're currently on disability, as long as you continuously treat, or if you only have one treatment within the next 5-year period of time. So in other words, if you have an injury that ends and you don't have any additional treatment and 5 years passes, then you don't have any more claims and your claim goes away. But in the event that you have ongoing treatment and it's sporadic or periodic, as long as you continue to see one doctor, get one prescription filled, or anything occurs within that 5-year period of time, then it resets that clock. So it's a rolling, ongoing 5-year statute of limitations that you need to be cognizant of in the event that you have an injury that may be latent. So people have some injuries to their joints and so forth that are fixed, but not necessarily completely resolved, that over time degenerate to the point where now they have ongoing problems that need to be addressed, but that's a few years down the line. You definitely don't want to go past that 5-year period of time, because once you do, then you don't have any claims any longer. So that's one of the reasons, and they're all the reasons, that you really should seek a qualified, experienced Delaware workers' compensation lawyer to handle your claims. Contact us if you have any questions. My name is Joseph Jachetti. Our firm is Schuster and Jachetti. The phone number is 302-984-1000, and our website is www.mydelawarelawyer.com.